Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. This is the megabase challenge. In the last episode, we worked to sort of clean up some of the base here, get things sorted, get rid of some of the, massive amount of carbon dioxide that I had floating around, trying to get the base in shape so that we can build onto it a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on in this episode here. So now that I've cleaned things up, we need to kind of expand the capabilities of this base. And I think the next thing we really need here is a proper power system up here. So right now, what that means is a natural gas generator power plant. So what we have is a natural gas generator. We have a couple of these running inside, and that's maintaining the base currently. However, if we want to get to the point of really running a lot of things like liquid tepidizers and different things that are going to cool down polluted oxygen to liquefy it and bring it back, and potentially do some more stuff with oil, although that doesn't take quite as much power. What we're going to want to do is really have a large power source available. Not to mention, I need to get rid of some of the polluted water. Now, a couple guys have mentioned that yes, I could just use the thimble reeds because they take polluted water and they take 160 kilograms a cycle. So if I do run into yet another problem with polluted water here, I'll throw the thimble reeds up here and just kind of take care of it that way temporarily. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and just try to build out the fertilizer I cannot say that. Fertilizer makers as much as possible, because in order to do a setup that runs about as much as possible out of a natural gas geyser previously, unless some of the numbers changed, I'll need 16 fertilizer makers and that's what I'll need right there. So that's going to take a little while to build. The other thing is I want to build a little bit more of this hydrogen system down here, so that I can make my more electrolyzers, and get more oxygen into the base. My tongue is twisted royally tonight, but that's the goal right there, so I can get some more oxygen and get some more power, and then bring in some more duplicates after that, probably in the next episode or so. So that's what I'm focusing on, and let's get to it. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and pump up the amount of oxygen I have here. That's going to be really easy to do, and it doesn't require any extra power, so put that top priority. This system right here seemed to work really good, so I'm going to duplicate it. I have so much like ore and everything that needs to go away down here. Oh my gosh, look at all of it. Of course, just queuing up the right stuff and asking my duplicates to make it isn't necessarily going to work. I do need to have the right materials in order to make this work just right. Although up here I'm just using sandstone, and that actually seems to work just fine. So I think I will change my plan, so one of the interesting comments that was left a couple of times in the last video was to have a suit, or one of those exosuits, right at the exit of their building, or shall we say their apartment up here. So maybe the exosuit is right here, and then they jump inside of it, and then they go off and do their thing. And that was kind of an interesting idea, which got me thinking, could you have like these little cells where they can go and do different things? Like, can they actually eat inside of an exosuit? I kind of doubt it. So they'd have to take off their suit. But it was an interesting idea that kind of brought up a different way to possibly play this game, in that you only have oxygen or safe zones inside of like little cells, and everything else is just horrible madness. And I think that's kind of an interesting idea. I don't know if I really want to explore it in this base, but I don't know. That's a fun idea. And as you could tell, there were a lot of back and forth, a lot of different comments on that. So I think that would be a really interesting thing to explore at some point. The other really interesting comment that was left here was a comment by Samsonite Dove. Now, I had mentioned, I think in that previous video, that I was looking for a way to potentially have the battery turn, or generators turn on and off based on battery levels. And this guy actually came up with a solution, and it's over here on the forums. So you can see his forum post here. And what he's using is a small battery to thermally switch on and off. So basically it gives off heat when it's has power inside of it, and then the heat stops when it runs out of power, and then it cools down. So it stabilizes next to a thermal sensor to turn on and off, basically to turn on and off a generator, so that it doesn't run continuously. I think that's kind of a really interesting solution there. So that's really awesome. I'll potentially be looking into that a little bit more in the future if I have a system or something that I really need, but I like that idea. That's really awesome. Now here's the other thing. A lot of people are saying these granite statues is to help dissipate heat. Now I've also heard people saying it's the best thing for dissipating heat, which I have a hard time believing, considering its thermal conductivity it's not necessarily the greatest. Although it does have a very high thermal mass, which kind of, I feel like that's important as far as efficiency is concerned. But it makes me wonder how that compares to something like a shower. We can see this base is finally getting to the point where I have lots of oxygen. It's getting back there. See? Finally getting there. I do have to find a way to kind of get rid of some of this chlorine. I'll probably end up just pumping it and just pumping it into like a compressed chamber. Who knows? I might be able to pump it back over here, considering there's... Ooh, it's 5 kilograms over there. So maybe not. Well, yeah, that would actually work. I could do that, because I can pump in up to about 20 kilograms. Considering... Actually, I still have to get rid of this, and that should be a good time to get rid of it. Considering I have the carbon skimmer down here ready to go. Maybe not. It's not hurting anybody by staying up here all by itself, so I'll just not worry about it. Okay, so when it comes to planning out fertilizer makers, I'm going to keep calling it that because I can't seem to get fertilizer synthesizer down. Fertilizer makers over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a lot of these, so this is going to be a very large volume. Very large. I might actually just keep going up rather than over to the side and all that good stuff. I'll need to actually mine a lot of gold amalgam in order to make this right. It does run a little bit warmer, so gold amalgam's the right way to go. I can plan it out with iron ore though, just so I can get the space right. Alright, so I can place all 16 of them in this area over here, and that should work out pretty good. Oh, you know what I can do? This gas pump that I'll put down here, I'll be able to double this as a filter for a little while and actually get rid of some of the chlorine. That's what I can do. You know that whole plan of putting each type of material in each storage compactor? Totally gave up on it. Alright, you know what I think is a good idea? If I put the hydrogen generator right down here, it doesn't take up as much space up there. So I'm going to move all of this up a little bit. And then as far as the power is concerned, I'll tuck that in there. So now everything's taking up a little less space. Me? Really, bro? Really? He started this construction, went up here, caught his breath, built this tile, jumped through it somehow, came down here to build this, and got himself stuck. What am I gonna do with you, man? Seriously. Every opportunity they get, they take it. But I like this. It's a little bit better package. I think this will work out good. There we go. This seems like a better arrangement. So if it is hydrogen will head on over here and into the generator. Otherwise, it's going to go into the second filter. And if it's chlorine, then I think I'll take the chlorine and I'll just go down here for now. That seems like a swell place to store some chlorine. If it's neither of those, then it'll just get pumped back into the base. How about that? Hey look, in this arrangement, the manual generator fits over here as well. Just having that vent, maybe it should be down here. Ah, it's gotta be. Alrighty, construction complete. So now all I have to do is select chlorine, and this system here should be all ready to go. Dr. Camille jumping on the generator down here to get it up and running. And we can see that we're now starting to pump chlorine down here into this little space. This might be an interesting way to store food. Maybe, maybe not. Although this seems to be working out just fine. I think what I'll do here is I'll leave this door open so that I can pull in some of that gas and start to get rid of this chlorine over here. Not sure I'll be able to get all of it, but you know, for right now that's what it is. I could easily hook up a pump over here and then just let that run into the same system for a little while and just clean it up that way. Here was another interesting comment from QB talking about how to store slime. As you can see what they're doing right here, storing slime underneath water. So that's pretty cool. I like that idea as well. Not that I can get to all of these. There's like 114 comments on this video alone. But you guys have a lot of really good ideas. I mean, it's worthwhile if you guys are just watching these videos to kind of scroll through there and see what other people are talking about. Which it seems like a lot of people are doing, because there's a lot of good ideas that people are posting down here. I'm not sure how to say this person's name, but no geysers, no water, super dependent on algae. He's going crazy, and I think that would be an interesting challenge at some point, is to play this game with no geysers at all, just to see how you'd have to overcome those challenges. Now, in the Mealwood farm, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, because in that last experiment I found that I could generate water, clean water, from a Mealwood farm. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We'll be exploring that a little bit more later on this week. I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of making a video, hopefully just about every day throughout the week, but we'll have to see, because the last couple of work weeks have been absolutely crazy, so I don't know about that. Oh, looks like I'm doing okay as far as cleaning this up. But it's probably nowhere as effective as actually just having a couple of pumps down here. I think I should probably just put some in and let this system be alone. Let it, there we go, close it up. Let it build up the hydrogen. Oh, talking about the farm of the last video that I was doing right there, I think the idea to govern the Puft might be to have carbon dioxide in that same biome, so the carbon dioxide level will go up and down like this, exposing that Puft to more or less polluted oxygen. I think that's going to be my solution, which is kind of an interesting and weird way to govern an animal, but I think it should work. Alright, so I'm just going to tap into this filter system over here for a little bit. I can disable this and just run some power over to this guy. Boom, just like so. It's going to be a little bit of a temporary solution, but it should clear up all of this. Alright, so even though I'm not going to be able to build this all in this episode, matter of fact, I won't be able to build any of it in this episode, this power plant over here, you can see this is sort of my strategy that I'm looking at right now. So right down here I have all of my fertilizer makers that we saw previously, and then up top I have the natural gas generators, and I have a few extra in here just in case I wanted to go over capacity. There's a chance that I might try to put more fertilizer synthesizers over here as well, just to kind of take up this space and eventually decommission all of the stuff that's over here. But for right now, that stuff's going to need to continue to run so that the rest of the base can be up and running while I build this, because otherwise I'm gonna like shoot myself in the knee for 200 cycles while I try to make this thing. So for now, I'm going to leave all of this alone and then try to build all of this on the side. As you can tell, it's going to be quite a big thing and a big build. Mostly going to be liquid cooling though, as you can see here. I'll probably have a pump that will, well, this pump here will have a bypass at some point to actually feed back and drip down on all of this stuff. There's some other cooling elements and how I'm going to fill all of this stuff that I have to work out. There's a chance I might run that kind of unit right here and how to actually get to all of that. But you can see the plan right now is kind of just an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So that's the game plan up there. And down here, this seems to have worked pretty good at cleaning itself up. I think I'm going to go ahead and, you know, just get rid of this guy now. I don't really need it. I mean, sure, there's some bad gas over here, but it's not the end of the world to have it next to the storage compactors. If anything, that gives me some opportunities. Alright, so it seems like the next thing I need to do in order to meet my goals here is to start digging up as much gold amalgam as I can find. Luckily, I have a decent amount of it down here, but it's going to take quite a bit, so that will be my goal, probably for the next video, so I can start to build up some of these synthesizers and some of the natural gas generators to get that power plant underway. At any rate, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode of Oxygen Not Included. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful week and that your Monday is going really good and all of that fun stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. If I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.